MegaBlitzz back. In today's video, we're going to be looking at this just crazy off-the-wall deck that I ran into on the rank ladder the other day. I managed to find a list for this deck. I have never ran into it before, but I had found out that this deck has been around for quite some time, and I just never really realized it or ran into it, which was really crazy to me. So I'm really excited to show you guys this. But if you've been enjoying the content I've been making here so far, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, drop a comment down below, and while you're down there, ring the notification bell. I really do appreciate it. And let's jump into this crazy deck list. Alrighty guys, and here we are with this deck list. As you can see, it's a Sandaconda deck, baby. We're going crazy. Sandaconda is insane with its 1 fighting energy requirement, big sand cannon, 60 times. Discard the top 6 cards of your deck. This attack does 60 damage for each fighting card you discard this way. So this means that we can hit up to potentially 360 damage. That is insane. But then you pair that card with Grant. During this turn, your fighting type Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage during your turn. If Grant's in your discard pile, you have to discard 2 cards except any Grant. If you do, put Grant into your hand. So we had the potential to do 390 damage. So that means to KO that pesky Charizard EX, we only need to discard 5 fighting energies and play a Grant in that turn. Hopefully that's not too much to ask, but we'll have to see. So it does kind of work out. We are playing a 4-4 split of the Silicobra and Sandaconda, our 3-3 split of Hisuian Basculin and Hisuian Basculegion as our backup attacker. Force attack upstream spirits 20 times. The attack does 20 damage for each basic energy in your discard pile, and then you shuffle those cards into your deck again. So then you can just recycle it back with Big Sand Cannon. So that's crazy. We're playing Radiant Greninja to be able to discard the fighting energies into our discard pile so we can put them back in the deck later on with Hisuian Basculegion. We're playing 3 Irida, 3 Klara as just finding, our water type Pokemon, find the Basculegion or Basculins and finding an item card if we need it. 3 Klaras for putting just stuff back into our hand if we need to. 2 Grant, 1 Gloria, search your deck for 3 basic Pokemon with a Ruhl box and then put them onto your bench. 1 Furisode Girl, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put that card into your bench. And then we are playing 1 Miriam shuffle 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. And then if you shuffle cards this way, you would draw 3. We were playing Arezu. Arezu says search your deck for 3 evolution Pokemon and just put them into your hand. We are playing 2 Ultra Ball, 2 Great Ball, 2 Nest Ball, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. And then just about half of our deck is fighting energy. We played 26 fighting energy. So this deck has the potential to hit very high numbers. It is a very gambling deck, and I have been in quite the gambling mood lately. I have gone to the casino the last couple times, and it has been fun. No big bets, very small bets. I like the penny machines. They're a good time. However, let's jump in to the gameplay. Alrighty guys, and here we are with our Sandaconda gameplay. You already know what it is. We're picking those tails. We always pick tails. We just hope we hit it. And we do end up hitting tails here, which is crazy to me. And I do end up deciding to go first, which we want to go first because we want to be able to evolve our Silicobras and our Basculins as fast as possible. We want to be able to evolve those quickly so we can start getting in damage and start trying to just chip away at our opponent and win this game here. Unfortunately, we are going to have to mulligan away our hand. We have no basic here. Unfortunate, but we hopefully will be able to see what our opponent has got cooking up hopefully soon. Full disclosure, this was pre-recorded, so I'm talking over the gameplay. So I kind of already know what happens. I do forget some of the things along the way. This is the first time I will be doing this. We end up getting a good hand here. However, the reason I am doing it is because I had to update my computer, and when I updated my computer, it reset all of my audio settings. So when I recorded the gameplay of me doing this and talking over it, I didn't realize that the audio wasn't going through. So there's no audio. It's just kind of me talking to nobody with no audio. So unfortunate, but to catch you up what's going on here, we do end up attaching that energy to our active Silicobra. We do Great Ball here, find that Sandaconda. We bench another Silicobra, and we have Radiant Greninja to be able to discard energies and draw 2 cards. It is our only draw engine in the deck, right? We have no other draw engine in this deck. Our opponent is on some sort of Chien-Pao deck. He does get a Battle VIP Pass, which is crazy to know. I mean, Battle VIP Pass is such a good card, just so strong. He does get that Chien-Pao Radiant Greninja. Radiant Greninja is a really big problem to deal with. He gets a second Battle VIP Pass. My goodness, man, it's crazy. Radiant Greninja is really difficult to deal with in this deck against us because we don't play Manaphy, and our Silicobras and our Basculins are both below 90 hit points. So he can go Radiant Greninja, take 2 KOs, right? Like, if you can kind of back-to-back those a bunch of times with, like, superior energy retrievals and stuff, and don't even need to worry about canceling Cologne, my goodness, that is super powerful and super strong. Our opponent does bench that Lumineon V to find an Irida and does put in Rare Candy Basculin into his hand, but can't evolve it this turn, which is not ideal for him. He does need this Frigiback to stay alive, so he does end up playing that Escape Rope. And I'm going to put up my other Silicobra. But it does end up working out, though, because I have that Sandaconda in hand, and I also have an energy in the discard pile, so I could Klara, you know, and find that energy, right? So I could Klara for 1 energy, which feels really bad, but, you know, sometimes it's what you got to do to get those early KOs and get that W, you know, get the win. So that's what you got to do. So our opponent does Shivery Chill here, and he does attach 1 energy, and then he does end up passing to us after this, I believe, is what happens. Yep, so he passes over to us, and we're going to top deck that Ultra Ball there. You'd love to see that, which is really, really good. So I kind of sit here and I'm like thinking, you know, what do I do? What do I do? And I do end up playing this Ultra Ball, discard 2 Pokemon from my hand, because then I can get a little more value out of it, right? Because I can just grab them back with Klara again, and then I can grab something else and putting it on my bench. So I do end up grabbing a Hisuian Basculin here, and I do end up putting that on my bench. So I'm going to put that on the bench here, and then I'm going to Klara, put all 3 back into my hand. That's Sandaconda, the Basculin, and the Basculegion, and my energy, so I can attack for that big sand cannon. We do need to hit 4 energies. Sadly, we only hit 3 here. Not ideal. Wanted to hit 4 so we could really get ahead in that prize race, but hitting 3 energies, not too shabby. And we are thinning our deck for like cards that we don't want, right? So we can just kind of get rid of things. The only thing we really care about is just evolving our stuff and then trying to loop our big sand cannon and our upstream spirits, being able to just put the energies back into the deck and then milling them again with big sand cannon from our Sandacondas. So that is like the kind of the loop here of the deck, the combo, if it were. And it is really strong, and you can hit huge numbers. I mean, you can hit 360 damage off of a Sandaconda. You play a Grant that turn, you can hit 390 damage potentially. You know, that's insane, right? And then however many energies in your discard pile, you just then upstream spirits and put them back into the deck, and then you just keep looping it. It's insane. So our opponent here does end up finding that Palkia V-Star and does end up evolving it. And he is hopefully going to be able to just kind of start cooking here and just start super cool. He's got everything set up. He's rolling, you know. He even could. The crazy part is Lumineon V isn't a terrible attacker in this matchup, strictly because it can KO my Silicobras, it can KO my Basculins, it can KO my my Hisuian Basculegion, because Hisuian Basculegion only has 110 hit points, which is insane. So our opponent does end up going for that Chien-Pao KO here and attacks our Sandaconda, and we do end up getting the knockout on there. Molly, quit. God goodness, dog. She's gotten a lot better, but she still likes to lick and stuff, and it's so frustrating. All right, so we do end up evolving here, and we Gloria put all 3 of these Pokemon onto our bench. We are going to conceal cards, draw 2. We'll be able to Hisuian Heavy Ball, check our prizes. We do end up having a Hisuian Basculin, 4 energies, and that Klara in the prizes. So now we're at a Klara, a Hisuian Heavy Ball, and 4 energies. We would upstream spirits for the KO here, put these energies back into the deck, take 2 prizes, and now we're at a 4-5 split. Really, really good, really, really strong. We're doing okay. We're positioned pretty okay right now. We just really need our opponent to not Radiant Greninja us this turn. If he can attack with Moonlight Shuriken this turn, we're in a really difficult spot to try to overcome, sadly. We'll just have to see what happens, honestly. So he's going to Superior Energy Retrieval, discard that Manaphy and a Palkia V-Star to put 4 energies back into his hand here. Conceals card, discard energy, draw 2 cards. You got it. Might as well, right? So the hard part about the deck that we're playing is getting set up is very difficult because our Silicobras and our Basculins are so frail. I mean, so just tiny, frail little things to deal with, and it is very hard to overcome. So he is going to Subspace Swell there for the knockout on our Hisuian Basculegion. However, I'm going to be able to promote our Silicobra here. Top deck another energy. I will be able to Radiant Greninja this turn, attach an energy, and play Klara all in the same turn. But we're going to try to draw into that Sandaconda. Sadly, we do not draw into the Sandaconda. So we're going to attach, and then I do have to play the Klara this turn because I need to be able to attack as soon as possible. So I do grab 2 Sandacondas and a Fighting Energy here. Because you want, yes, you want to have the Fighting Energies in your discard pile, but you also need them in your hand so you can at least attack with your Sandacondas. So I am going to evolve both of my Silicobras into Sandacondas, bench my Hisuian Basculin, and we're going to big Sand Cannon. And we're going to hit only 2 energies, sadly. So we're only doing 120 damage there. However, our opponent can't really capitalize on this too much. The only thing he could do is Super Cold more energies onto the Greninja and just take that knockout this turn as well. But from what we know, he doesn't have too many energies left in his hand because he put them on that Chien-Pao and he put them on that Palkia. So we're pretty okay. He can Star Portal, but he's only able to Star Portal for a singular energy because he only had 1 in his prizes, sadly. So our opponent sadly cannot do too much with that, which puts us in a really nice position to be able to overcome it and come back from this game, or come back in this game and just kind of keep coming here because we are at that 4-4 prize split. So we definitely need to be able to take a KO on this Palkia next turn. He is going to Subspace Swell, but that's okay. He's going to put another energy in our discard pile. We'll be able to promote this other Sandaconda, and we'll be fine. And we also know this is I got a Fighting Energy and Klara out of my prizes. All I have left is a Hisuian Heavy Ball and 3 Fighting Energies left in my prize. So we're going to Radiant Greninja, draw, and we draw into that Arezu. Arezu is going to be so good here because I'm going to shut off his Radiant Greninja play because I can find all of my evolution Pokemon and evolve all of them. So we're going to attach an energy to that Silicobra, and we're going to rip the Arezu here and just grab 2 Sandaconda and a Basculegion. Looking back at this, I probably should have grabbed 2 Basculegion and 1 Sandaconda. I didn't need an additional one, but that's fine. And then I end up checking the prizes here, or my discard pile, sorry, because I notice that there's a Grant in there, right? That's why it's glowing around the circle, or in that square, is because I do have that here. So we need to hit a big Sand Cannon, and we do hit 5 energies for 300 damage on that Palkia V-Star. Oh, so now we're going to take 2 prizes here. We're going to go to a 2-3 split. I do get 2 energies, so we know that my last 2 prizes are Hisuian Heavy Ball and 1 Fighting Energy. Very important to note, checking your prizes in Pokemon is very important, especially depending on what deck you're playing. If you're playing a Lost Box deck, you need to know what energy counts you're working with and what pieces you're missing in certain things. In Chien-Pao, you know, if you're trying to go for that Radiant Greninja combo, you need to know if you're missing your Canceling Cologne or Radiant Greninja or how many energies are gone. It's very important to look at that stuff. I do it constantly. When I play Lugia, I'm always checking to see what energies I have available to me and what attackers I have. And I always check my copies of one-of cards. So I always check my Professor Brunette and my Pumpkaboos. All the cards that I play one copy of, I'm always checking those as well. So something to always try to get better for, just be mindful of checking your prizes when you are playing Pokemon. It is a skill that will take a lot of time to overcome. I am not the greatest at it by any means, but it is really powerful and really strong to know. So our opponent does end up trying to go for the Radiant Greninja play here, but he's just too slow with it. I mean, you know, had he done this a turn earlier and had the energy to be able to do it, it'd have been a lot stronger. Because he'd been able to take out a bunch of prizes with it, but fortunately, he couldn't, right? He didn't have the energies to do it. He only had the energy that he already attached and didn't see the play there. So he is going to be able to take the KO on her Hisuian Basculin. However, I don't know what other prize he would be able to take because he can't KO anything with that Radiant Greninja. He only will be able to KO that Basculin, so he'll be able to damage something else. I probably would have picked something around the lines of like the Greninja or the Sandaconda on the bench, not the one in the active that he does end up picking, only because you'll be able to Chen Pao them with Hail Blade for just 2 energy instead of, or 1 energy, sorry, instead of 2 energy or 3 energy. You'll be able to do it for just a little bit cheaper. So I believe that is the play he was going for here, was because he's going to try to do it on the active next turn, because he's predicting that I'm going to be able to, you know, I'm going to be able to attack and KO this Radiant Greninja with my Sandaconda. So I do end up checking the rest of my deck here. I realize I have 8 fighting energies. I clear out the rest of it. I do play the Great Ball here just to kind of eliminate, you know, the Iono or the Roxanne or anything of that nature, and the amount of cards left in my deck. I want them to be thin. I want them to just be energies. So I do end up attaching an energy here to the Radiant Greninja, and I'm explaining this now because if he goes cross switch or put up my Radiant Greninja and doesn't KO it, I need to be able to retreat out of it, and I wanted to be able to put it on now, so I don't have to waste it next turn. So I can just do it now and not have to worry about it. So we are going to Big Sand Cannon, and we get a crazy 360 damage with that Sandaconda Big Sand Cannon. 360 damage, the highest you can get without playing a Grant that turn. So our opponent is going to come back up here, and he's going to promote, I believe he promotes a Chen Pao here. And we do have the game very well positioned in our favor, strictly because our opponent is not able to take 2 prizes this turn. Even if they were to put the Greninja back into their hand or their deck in Moonlight Shuriken a second time, you're not going to be able to KO something else. You're only going to be able to KO the Sandaconda in the active, and then you're not going to be able to KO anything else on my bench because I didn't put any basic Pokemon down. So we are positioned very well to win this game. Our opponent just kind of does a bunch of stuff and gets a bunch of energies and super cold Demondo a bunch of things, and then he Hail Blades for 1 energy for 60 damage is usually what ends up happening here. We do see him use the Hisuian Heavy Ball to find that Frigibax. So we do know that he has a Frigibax in hand and a Hisuian Heavy Ball in his prizes now, and he does end up playing the Superior Energy Retrieval to get a bunch of energies left, so he can kind of just set up and start ruling here. Alright, so he is going to discard that Basculin and that Frigibax off of that Superior Energy Retrieval to put 4 energies back into his hand and be able to super cold them wherever he wants to. I believe he does put 1 on the bench Chen Pao and then 3 on the active Chen Pao, and then Hail Blades for 1. We are positioned very, very well. Very, very well. The best thing our opponent could do here is just not KO our active Pokemon. He does not KO our active Pokemon, we kind of run the risk of milling ourselves. However, had he done this, I could just attach manually multiple times and not attack with Big Sand Cannon, and just attach 2 times in a row to my Sandaconda and retreat out of it into a Basculegion and then just attack that way. That's kind of what would have happened, because if he KOs, then I threaten game right there. But if he doesn't KO, then he forces me to just kind of manually retreat at least and have the energies in my hand. So what I end up doing here is I put the Radiant Greninja up in the active, retreat out of it to go into the Basculegion here. And I go into the Basculegion, and then I concealed cards, mill myself out, discard another energy here, and then I'm going to hit the Upstream's Spirits. I do check to see if Grant counts for anything. So we're going to hit the Upstream Spirits for 420 damage. My goodness, this deck hits crazy high numbers, and you love to see those big numbers on the screen. It's so much fun, and we do end up taking the game there, guys, with that Sandaconda deck. It's so much fun to play, and I had such a blast putting this deck together. And my goodness, look at that damage. 1,480 damage we did with that Sandaconda deck. My goodness. Alrighty, guys, let's jump into that outro and talk about this Sandaconda deck. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't yet, don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment down below. I'm going to leave the deck list in the description below. So if you guys want to try this deck out for yourself, you'll be able to. It's tons of fun. I mean, my goodness, 360 damage off a Big Sand Cannon, 420 damage off of the Upstream Spirits. Doesn't get any better than that. And I appreciate it so much. All right, guys, we'll talk later. Peace.